you want a little magic in the music that you like, if you want a little music in the magic that you like, if you want it all, give us a call, we're Magic Mike.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to
Hey,
another episode of
Hello.
the Magic Mike
welcome back.
podcast.
Hi.
It's us
Woo!
again.
Whoa, so guys, it's been a while since we've last recorded. How have you guys been doing? Like,
I guess I'm fine.
I'm
Yeah,
doing
the same.
fine.
I've noticed some changes with some of us. Like Aiden,
Wait,
I like the new
Aidan,
background.
the new
Wow.
background. Would you
Yeah,
mind giving us a house
Henry,
tour, Aidan?
I'm in my living room now. No, I'm not gonna give a house tour because this podcast isn't
Why
about
not?
me. It's
Oh,
about our listeners who sent us
sorry.
delightful questions for us to answer today.
Whoa, that's
Okay,
true. So like
that's
we've
true.
recently
Oh,
gotten a new question from one of our viewers. So without further
I
ado,
didn't know.
let's take a listen to the question.
Magic Mike's.
Hi, my name is Vincent. I'm an aspiring musician and I wanted to know how to push my music forward with or without a label. I've been experimenting with different styles and I was hoping to find a demographic. What do you suggest?
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
a
a very
really
loaded question.
Yes.
yeah, that's a really interesting question, and I think it's something that a lot of young musicians are thinking about right now. But I think the best way to think about how to let your music reach a lot of people is to imitate or get inspiration from the ways established musicians have already done it before, like what they
So the
do.
tried and tested stuff.
Yeah, just copy the famous ones.
Yeah, basically. Or try to make them yours. So for today, for this question, we have four. We're going to talk about four musicians with very unique and very interesting marketing strategies that maybe our listener Vincent can get inspiration from. So let's start with Aidan. You
Oh,
have the
me?
first artist.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Like and subscribe.
I don't think it's a big secret in our group that we're all lovers of one Taylor Swift. Do you guys know who
Wow.
Taylor Swift is?
I'm
Who's that? I don't know.
22.
Disclaimer, it's just Aidan.
It's
So
just
like
Aidan,
viewers,
yeah.
just so
Like
you know, it's
viewers,
Well,
just
it's
Aidan.
just Aidan.
well, maybe in the group I'm the one who's the most avid fan of her. But I read this article before actually that said that if there was a prize for the best music marketing in like the whole world, Taylor Swift would have it. Do you guys know why? Do you
Congrats,
guys like?
Taylor. Why? Wait, what does Taylor do?
Hi.
What's so
She's
special?
just a
Well,
snake.
I did some research on like her marketing strategies, and then I can see now why I'm such a big fan of her because she has like a bunch of marketing strategies that have helped her in her career. Like the first one is that she really like had a persona for herself, like had an identity that like made her distinct from other artists in her field. Like, and she also reinvents this identity as she matures and stuff. She started in country music, and she was like a country darling, a country starlet. And her identity then was that she was like this like little girl who's like 19 years old or something, who like doesn't know
Oh.
anything about the world, but writes music to get to understand love and like these abstract concepts. So from her songs like "Teardrops on My Guitar," very emotional,
She's the
very dramatic.
reason, dude, the teardrop
And
on
then
my
when she started like
guitar.
to experience more stuff like in the music industry and her life got more publicized, she started teasing the media and like their tropes in like her albums 1989 and in Red. Like those people who are calling her like a man eater, like
Man
she dates too
eater.
many people. She'd also talk about those like in her songs, and then she also matured along with her public image. And then there was like this time when she got canceled because people like can
Cancelled.
get canceled on the internet and stuff. She
Just
got
an
canceled
slow.
really badly. And then the next album she produced after that was like this like she was playing this character of a bad girl or a master manipulator that everyone in the media had been calling her. So the album Reputation. Do you know that album?
Big reputation.
Her worst
Big.
album.
Oh,
Big reputation.
that's a
No,
hot take. That's a very hot take.
hot take.
But we will call that valid for whatever. And speaking of her albums, actually, she has had very very good album cycles. Like they really build suspense. She releases like a lead single from her album usually 2 to 3 months prior. to the album release date. And usually these like singles that she chooses, she explicitly mentioned that they were songs that did not sound like the album or weren't like the best representation of the album, but they were always like the catchiest melodies that she had. And so that people would like listen and she could gain like the general public's like interest for her album. And then when her album gets out, like the long staying fans and the general public would like the album. So she also like has a bunch of TV appearances and like performances that she does, and she also puts her album on like pre-release, like weeks before, so that she could get like impossible numbers for the first week. Do you guys know how many copies were sold in the first week of 1989?
1989
Billion.
copy.
1989.
No, it's not 1989. She sold 1.3 million copies of it on its first week.
Oh, it's so
And
much.
she's actually the artist to have four consecutive albums sell 1 million plus in its first week.
Wow.
So
Congrats, Taylor. Woo!
that's because of her marketing strategy. And there's also this thing where she built like this connection with her audience that's like very intimate compared to other artists. I remember like in an award show, she thanked MySpace for allowing her to have a platform with her audience.
So cool.
Yeah, and now that MySpace is like kind of obsolete, like she's moved to Twitter and Instagram and especially Tumblr. And she calls this thing Taylor King, where she stalks her fans online to the point where she even flies them from whatever country they're in to her house to listen to her album before anyone else can listen to it. So yeah. And
Is that
I
the
think
secret session thing?
oh, there's the secret sessions thing. Wow,
What's 50?
The Swifties.
and she's also been very vulnerable like for her entire career, like her private life has always been publicized, but that never stopped her from making really honest songs, and she writes every single one of the songs that she releases,
Wow.
so
Talented.
so that
So
there's a very
talented.
intimate quality in her music. Yes, and I think that's actually all I have to say about Taylor Swift. Oh wait, did you guys know what laptop Taylor Swift uses to write down all these marketing?
Gaming,
Razer
gaming laptop,
Gaming.
Alienware.
Not that. It's
Adele. So let's talk about Adele. So like Taylor Swift, unlike Taylor Swift, I mean, Adele doesn't really do anything like special with her marketing strategies. But what makes Adele so unique is that although her marketing strategies are so simple, they work. So when do you guys think Adele started promoting her brand? Like, do you guys know when she released her first album?
like
1989.
yeah, 1989.
2002.
Unfortunately, like no, she did not start in 1989, but she's actually started nearly like around the same time Taylor started her career. And like Aiden mentioned Taylor thanking MySpace for helping communicate with her fans. Adele also used MySpace. So Adele's like first real promotion of her music was in MySpace. She was still in school and she made a couple of songs, and so she promoted herself in MySpace and another online website. But like specifically in MySpace, this song release helped her get a record deal with with a record label, and because of that, she was recruited, and eventually she released her first album called 19. Do you guys know why it's called 19?
Is it because there's like 19 songs?
It was released on the 19th.
No, no, it's because she wrote her songs while she was 19 years old. Wow, like she
I
started
think
really
that's
young.
so
Yeah,
Kinda
untalented.
cray.
yeah, she started really
Man.
young. So
And aren't
You're
you
nine.
19?
yeah, I'm
Ben's
19
19.
and but like we're both
Viewer,
successful. Adele's released an album while I'm doing this podcast with you guys. Wow.
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 Equally as good.
Anyways,
I hate
I have to
I
it.
hear
mention this.
regret.
Anyways, I have to mention this while talking about her album release. There was some controversy, a bit of controversy. Like so she's from she's British, okay? She's not a US artist. So she wanted to promote her new single in the US market industry, US music industry because it's really big. So she planned on going on a US tour, but suddenly she canceled that world tour, and it's not because like she was sick or anything. It was because according to her, she wanted to prioritize her love with her boyfriend instead of promoting her new single. Like
Wow.
Hurt is your love.
maybe like she thought like love conquered all. But like she wasn't really known back then, so like it was such a risky move, and so like this risky move like it did hurt her. Like initially when she released her album, she was like she failed actually. She wasn't that huge in the U.S. market. But then I guess you could say she got the lucky break. She got a lucky break. Yeah, she appeared on Saturday Night Live. Do you guys know that show? Like it's a famous
Yes,
talk
sir.
show.
Of
SNL.
course.
Yeah, it's a famous
SNL.
talk show in the U.S. Like luckily, like the episode she was in, I guess luckily, like a bit of luck, a bit of her talent. Anyways, like that episode specifically, it had like 17 million viewers. It had the best ratings in SNL history in SNL for over a decade. Like that was the most number of viewership they had. And anyways, like she performed her song live in SNL, and people were getting interested in her. She's like, whoa, who's that talented singer? So her sales like skyrocketed in sales after her appearance in SNL. And so because of this, like she started to get more involved in the U.S. market. Like she got the lucky break because of her popularity skyrocketed basically because like of SNL and other talk shows. And
Yeah.
anyways, I'll move on to the next album, 21. Like, do you guys know why it's called 21?
She
Is
has
it
21 children.
because it's 21 songs?
No,
There's 21,000 sales.
you guys were so close. It was because she wrote those songs in 21 when she was 21. So like for this
What?
album, honestly, nothing really changed in her marketing strategy in 19 to 21. The only difference is she actually went on tour this time, like to promote her album. Like
Oh. No
wow.
Wow.
boyfriend this time?
Oh,
No
also
boyfriend.
No
like
boyfriend.
actually
What a
also
tour.
like I have to add this, like she also incorporated social media into her marketing strategy because I believe she released 21 in the early 2010s, and that was around the time social media was rising in popularity. So she incorporated social media marketing, and as a result, like her album top charts worldwide, and like there were much higher sales
Worldwide.
compared to her other album 19. And so now that leads us to her latest album, Up to Date. Like up to today, like this is her latest album. It's called 25. Like everyone knows this. But do you guys know why it's called 25?
It's the
She
year
made
she
it
released.
Because
uh,
there's
The year she released
2025.
5
2020.
songs.
Again, guys, like you were so close. It's because her songs were she wrote those songs in her album when she was 25 years old.
Oh, so
Whoa.
close.
Wow.
Aren't you 25,
Oh,
man?
I wish I was. I don't wish. Like anyways, like we're getting out of topic. Anyways, like once again, like she kept her marketing strategy simple. Oh, but this time I will mention this. Like, do you guys know what other artists do? Like, you know how other artists tend to avoid clashing with other album releases. So, like for example, an artist doesn't release their album on the same day as another artist because they don't want the sales to clash. Have you guys heard
Yep.
of that? Like, yeah,
oh, was this the Katy Perry thing?
Katy.
Like when
Oh, was there like Katy
which
Perry?
artist like released together with
Oh,
Taylor
Katy
Swift
Perry
and
released an album, then Taylor Swift put her music back on Spotify.
Oh, yeah,
Taylor
like
Swift album.
something like that.
Release an
yeah.
album.
Divine.
Basically, like artists tend to like avoid that because they don't want to they don't want like their sales to be affected by the other artist. But for Adele, she didn't bother. Like she said, "Oh hey, okay, you know what? Other artists can release the same day as me. I don't care." Because like Adele was super popular back then. So as a result, it wasn't Adele avoiding other artists. It was the other way around. Other artists avoided her because they knew Adele would beat them in sales. So popular groups like One Direction, you guys know One Direction, right? Like they were supposed to release a song, I believe.
Woo!
Like they were supposed to release something, but then they didn't want to clash with Adele's release date, so they moved it to a different date. So like that's how so like Adele
Just
used her
for the
like
sales.
popularity. She used like the tools she had, and she used it well to promote herself, like to promote herself. Also, like there are two other marketing strategies she employed this time in her latest album. This time she released a short clip of of the lead single in her album. Like you guys know, "Hello,
Mm.
it's me." You guys know that
Hi.
like "Hello" by
I
Adele.
Is
bet.
it me
Hello,
you're looking for?
like you
I love
know
that
her
song.
single or her lead single "Hello." She released a short clip before she actually released the full version of the single. But like this short clip, it really like broke the internet. Basically, people were like talking about it. They're like,
Easy.
"Whoa, it's so amazing!" Like, Adele, please release it. It got people hyped up, and like as a result, like this album, like like it went platinum like so many times in like worldwide charts, and like
Wow.
finally this is the different this is like I believe Taylor Swift also did this. Like Taylor, like Adele didn't put her songs in streaming services like Spotify and Apple
Oh
and
yeah.
iTunes. Yeah, Adele didn't
The
do that
beef.
because Adele knew like she's so popular, like people would be willing to buy her album. Right? I believe like Aida, do you have an album? Like, do you have Adele's album? I believe you do,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Raiden was the one who has that album, diba?
Yeah,
Like,
like
which one was it?
Bought her album
yeah.
because
Yeah,
we could
the,
stream it. That's
See, like,
amazing.
see, there's this is like one of this is like
Evidence.
yeah, this is evident. Like it worked. Adele's marketing strategy worked. Like she didn't put it on her streaming service for a while, but like her sales like it wasn't affected at all. Like it rose because like people wanted to buy her album because she's that talented, you know. So
Yes.
anyways,
Wow.
that's really it for Adele. Like she hasn't released anything since 25. So yeah.
Like and subscribe.
so I guess another artist that has a really, like for me at least, like that has a really like unique marketing strategy, like other than like what, like example like Adele and Taylor Swift did, like they put singles out or like they do talk shows and other stuff. Drake has a weird thing, like for example, like with his music videos. First, like, do you guys remember Hotline Bling?
I
You remember
know the
Hotline Bling, right?
hotline bling.
Na, 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 na.
The weird
And
dance.
like he does that dance,
Yeah, the
the
weird
weird dance.
dance.
Yep.
Apparently, like that's I don't know if that was like intentional or like just by accident, but that's one of the things that really helped that song like really make it really popular because of the like I guess the meme value of it because like a lot of people started a lot of people started making like edits of it like Drake playing tennis or like Drake like just
Oh,
smacking
I've
people.
seen those videos.
Yeah,
I
like,
remember.
yes, you remember.
You remember?
And ano- and also another music video of his that went really viral as well was God's Plan. You remember God's Plan? I
God's
remember
plan.
God's Plan.
People were obsessed with like
And because Drake was like in the video, he was like helping people. He was buying them their groceries and stuff. They were like, "Yes, Drake, please,
Yes,
thank you,
film
Drake."
me, please. Like,
So I guess that's Drake's like way of like marketing himself is that like he makes really like controversial. It's either like controversial or like really or like it's like just things that make people talk on the internet so that it will gain traffic and people will be like, wait, what song? It's by Drake.
listen.
Oh, I need to listen to that song. Then like you know the listens will go up. And another thing is that it's just album covers. Like something like really common about this album covers is that like you can make edits of it. The example in his album views.
Oh,
It's just
views.
him. It's like it's him sitting on top of like a big tower. Like I don't know what tower is it, but it's like a
Yeah.
control tower in the airport or whatever. And it's him sitting in it. So people thought that was silly. So they started like photoshopping Drake sitting on top of random stuff like on Ant Man or like on top of a
Ant-Man.
restaurant or on buildings. So I guess it's again with like the memeable content that Drake puts out. Because like I guess he understands that his audience is mostly like millennials or like Gen Z or like around that demographic, like because those are the people that love to make memes and stuff, like that kind of humor. So I guess that's it. This is for Drake, like as far as I know.
Magic mics.
so Aidan, Ben, and Ilian talked about Western musicians. And I think that like since Vincent is a Filipino, I think we should like talk about a big successful Filipino musician
Wait.
as
Sorry,
well.
what did he mention his name? But in the question.
He didn't. He mentioned his name, but he didn't mention his nationality.
Oh,
Ah,
okay, restart.
Yeah. Okay.
oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So
You can say
Ben,
Vincent sounds very Filipino, so I'm
Yeah, you
gonna
can. You
guess
can say
as
that. You can say
well.
that. He seems like he's Filipino.
Okay, go.
Is that
so
racist?
Ben, so Ben, Ilian, and Aidan all talked about Western musicians for their kind of models. But since we're Filipinos in this podcast,
Yes, we are
I
all Filipinos.
decided that one, I think we should all, or we all live in the
Yeah.
Philippines in this podcast. So I think it's, I think we should also talk about one musician uh, who basically resuscitated the OPM kind of scene in the Philippines in the 2010s. And who do you guys think that is? No, it's not Aidan Bernales.
It's not Aiden Bernal.
Analo.
Gary Valenciano,
It's Ben and Ben. Parokya
Not
ni
you,
Edgar.
Bamboo.
Ben. Not
Sharon
Parokya
you.
ni
Cuneta,
Edgar.
Parokya ni
She
Edgar.
Name.
resuscitated it a long time ago. But no, it's Moira de la Torre.
Wow.
So she's like this really big artist now, but she actually just started as a voice artist for corporate jingles. Like she would be the one singing like their little songs, but she wouldn't be credited until when she was around 20, 21 years old, she joined The Voice. But which is a big talent competition here in the Philippines that's like televised nationwide. But unfortunately, she was eliminated. But you'd think that that would stop her because you know those are one of the only avenues to like go big at the time, but she didn't. She made use of the internet. She did a lot of covers for like iconic songs, iconic OPM classics, and she would post them online. So, because of the popularity of her songs and of her covers, she came out with with an EP the following year, and that EP blew up, and she kept blowing up, and now she's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like OPM musician working right now. So I think this is because of a whole bunch of marketing strategies. For one, I think what I mentioned earlier, right? She did a lot of covers and she connected with a lot of artists, diba? Like when you hear of Mora de la Torre, like don't you always like hear her like collabing with another artist? Like you, Ben, how was working with Mora de la Torre
Ben and
like?
Ben.
Ben and Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you and your twin.
yeah, that was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like I felt so blessed. Oh
What
my
song did
god.
you sing, Ben?
I don't know any songs. I don't.
As a
Yeah,
Korean. But yeah, because of your help, Ben, she
Yes.
was able to launch her career to like enormous to sky heights or whatever. And also like another thing that made her music successful is also because she projected a very unique image. I think a problem that a lot of Filipino artists do nowadays is that they try too hard to be like Western musicians. But what Mora de la Torre does is that she has a very Filipino image. She's very Catholic and Christian. Like a lot of her songs have God in them or something. And she also has the content of her music is also very hugot, right? So, which is a
we
very
love that so good.
Filipino like culture, right? And then also just a very earnest and honest person. So, aside from that, she also did the Taylor Swift thing where she cultivated a strong fan following. Like I remember, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember this? Like a few years back, I would always hear about like Mora de la Torre like fan events or something in Ayala.
Fan?
You
I
guys hear
don't.
I
about
don't
that?
I don't
remember.
remember this.
But I remember that there was a concert in Cebu,
Yeah, there
like
Oh,
was
the
really?
Moira
like
one. Yeah,
a few years ago. And those are what helped her become like a big star. She really cultivated like a strong relationship with her fans, especially on Facebook. There are a lot of like Moira de la Torre fan Facebook fan pages. And most notably and recently, she started making use of love teams or like started collabing with big actors and actresses as well in her music videos. So even though like it was a really, or at least I think it was like a really sudden drop, like that album. Not that album, but that single. Like she was still able to like make it big because she connects a lot with a lot of other Filipino artists, a lot of other people who have star power. So yeah, that's Maria de la Torre is basically like she was able to synthesize a lot of the marketing strategies of Drake, what's the other people,
Adele.
Adele and Taylor Swift.
Adele.
And I hope that you, Vincent, listener, or any of the other listeners like also gain inspiration from her
Yes.
marketing strategy.
Like and subscribe.
so I guess with that, like I got what we can take from all of the artists that we talked about today is that they're really resourceful
Very.
with what they have. Of course, they come from different genres, like Drake from rap, Taylor pop, multi-genre, Adele
God-given talent, Adele.
pop, God-given talent, and more OPM pop, all of that stuff. They really make sure to use whatever they have, like from whatever backgrounds they come from, so that they can maximize whatever marketing strategies and sales. So I guess for the questioner, oh, the person who asked the question,
Questioner.
for now, like, you can find you should find what resources that you have at this moment and use that so that you can like rack up a demographic and your fan base and stuff. So I guess that's it for today. Please like and subscribe or share, retweet, heart, subtweet, DM. Then I think that's it for us. Outro. Goodbye.
Bye. See you next time.
If you want a little magic in the music that you like, if you want a little music in the magic